The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and Al Roker Jr. filling in, and he's never done this bit with us, so I'm pretty excited. It's Head to Headlines with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. So you know what we do. We give you two headlines, and based on the headline alone, you must choose what story you want to hear more about on the text line, 312-591-8300. You just text headline number 1 or headline number 2. So don't text till you hear both, and then we can add up the total easily. Now, the kicker is here. We'll never talk about the other story again.
That's right.
Never. Never do it.
Vote wisely.
Yeah. So here we go. Headline number 1. New York scientist pleads guilty to operating Breaking Bad-style meth lab after mistakenly calling the cops on himself.
Okay.
Is that something you might want to hear more about, Roker?
Let me hear number 2.
Okay. Okay. Number 2 is family feud over pizza for breakfast ends with assault using grits.
That one sounds very similar. If you remember, we had the story about a month ago. Farmer strikes man with pitchfork in goat argument.
Yes.
Very similar energy in that one.
And we've never found the result of that. We actually reached out to the reporter because we like to do follow-ups. We find out what happens after these stories. And sometimes we just don't get them.
Hand on a Bible, I have emailed the writer of that story 3 different times saying, hey, we'd like to talk to you. Can we get more info? He will not get back to me.
Yeah. Maybe he's a family member of one of the people.
Right.
He
It was the
was
scoop. That's how we got the scoop.
It's an inside job. Okay, so one more time. You guys vote at 312-591-8300. Headline number 1 or headline number 2? Which one you want to hear more about? Again, headline 1. New York scientist pleads guilty to operating Breaking Bad-style meth lab after mistakenly calling cops on himself. Second, family feud over pizza for breakfast ends with assault using grits. Okay, you decide. Who are we talking about next? Head the headlines with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Text in now.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. So the texting is over for the headlines. You can still text Eddie to 312-591-8300 for your chance to get to Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field. Text Eddie to 312-591-8300. So here we go with Head the Headlines. 2 headlines are chosen. You choose one of them, actually, by text of what story you want to hear more about. We will never, ever talk about the other story again. So I hope you chose wisely. We'll give you the results in a second. Headline number 1 was New York scientist pleads guilty to operating Breaking Bad-style meth lab after mistakenly calling cops on himself. It's that last line.
Right. I'm going,
The first part, okay, I get it. And then the last line makes me want to hear more about that story.
Right.
How he did that. But the second headline was family feud over pizza for breakfast ends with assault using grits. Now, sadly, we'll never hear about that first story because number 2 won by a landslide.
That's right. This was a Reagan Mondale situation.
Wow. God. He's 25
look
years
at you,
old.
you old soul.
I know.
I'm sorry, I know history. God forbid.
Good Lord. So, in case found this story, so give him props on that one. So, here we go. We break it down right now for you. Family feud over pizza for breakfast ends with assault using grits. Florida cops say.
Shocker there.
So, we now know where it was. A family dispute over whether pizza is right for breakfast escalated to assault when a woman smacked her mom in the head with a handful of warm grits, according to investigators in Florida. I'm not sure we need to read any more of the story. There's so much to unpack there alone. Have you ever had breakfast pizza, Roker?
Yes, of course.
It's delicious.
Yes.
It's never a bad option. I don't know how many that make it here in Chicago. I know Jewel used to make pizzas to buy and then take home and cook them as the eggs and sausage and bacon strips on them.
Right.
I don't know who does it here anymore, makes breakfast pizza. Do you?
It's delicious.
It
Anything
is.
like breakfast burrito, breakfast pizza, that kind of thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, breakfast pizza. So I don't know why that got into such a big argument.
I don't know. I've never had a breakfast pizza with eggs and bacon and sausage on it. That sounds lovely, though.
Yeah.
But in my house growing up, Friday night was pizza night. We would get pizza every Friday night. Saturday morning, you wake up and you have those leftovers. I personally, not a fan of cold pizza. I always put mine in the microwave. But I was raised on Saturday morning pizza for breakfast.
Okay.
You don't drink, right?
I don't.
Okay, that's
Yeah, and the thing is, that's not what we're talking about here. We're actually talking about breakfast pizza.
Yeah.
where it's made with the eggs on it and usually some bacon slices or whatever. It's so good.
Is that our new side hustle? Do we need to start that if you can't find a place that has it?
I'd like to know on the text line while we're doing this that if there's places that maybe there's a ton of places out there I don't know about.
Yeah, maybe.
They're making breakfast pizza. So that's when the woman smacked her mom in the head with a handful of warm grits.
I have to say real quick, our text line just exploded. Everybody has the same answer. Casey's General Store. They are the go-to for breakfast pizza.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that I've seen 100 texts just fly through all saying Casey's.
Now, I know there's one near Joliet for you, Roker, I think. A Casey's?
I'll have to check it out. I'll have to make sure.
They have an exclusive Mountain Dew flavor, too. So get the breakfast pizza, get the Mountain Dew. You've got yourself an afternoon.
What's the flavor?
Oh, God, I think it's an orange one. I don't remember exactly.
It's a color probably more than a flavor, yeah.
By the way, the people that own Casey's might want to call our radio station, talk to Jeff Hill about an endorsement on the morning show because, I think we've given you enough coverage on this one.
It keeps going. There's so many texts just saying Casey's Pizza.
Somebody also says Speedway does it too.
Oh, well, interesting.
But the Casey's one are so overwhelming here, it's kind of hard to keep up. Okay. So get your breakfast pizza at Casey's and make sure you mention Brian and Kenzie and get a discount. That's not true. There's no discount. Okay, so the story continues. And then, investigators in Florida had to go to this house to see what happened. I mean,
if you're going to be an investigator, you want to be an investigator in Florida.
Yeah, I
because
guess.
it's never boring.
Right. But also, don't you grow up being an investigator watching like Law and Order and think it's going to be some high-level case?
No, you're not getting that.
You got a call and they go, "Hey, Jeff, you got to go over to Main Street because this woman had grits thrown in her face."
Well, you think about all those crime shows, right? Like if they show up to a murder in an apartment building, they draw the string as to where the bullet might have gone, and they've got all the evidence markers.
Right.
They're doing that, but with the debris of the grits all over the
Sausage.
kitchen.
Yeah.
I just picture this old lady coming to the door with grits still on her face. And then she says, "What happened? We were arguing about pizza, and she threw grits in my face."
What do you mean, what happened? Look at me.
Did they dust for grits to see where the fingerprints or?
Famously, back in the day, you know Al Green, right?
Oh yes,
Al Green. Let's stay together.
Oh, listen, that's probably number one if you want to get a little.
Well, maybe not after you hear this story.
Oh no!
Because he famously in the hood, he's known as Al Grits Green, because he famously threw hot grits on his wife and gave her third-degree burns.
Oh, my third degree?
Yeah.
This man?
Oh yeah.
But he sounds so
That's like
soulful here.
napalm.
This guy did that?
Yep.
Oh, Al Green. I mean,
Al Grits Green. Get it right.
Well, I'm never gonna forget it. He's not alive, is he?
I hope not.
He is.
He is.
He's 77.
Wow.
Should we go throw grits in his face? That's mean. Very mean. For a guy that could sing like this.
I know, right?
I just came to see.
You're really lost in the
Calm
song,
down there, Brian. It looked like winked at me.
Megan's not here.
Megan, get ready.
She got that spray tan today.
That's right. My wife's getting a spray tan because she's going to Florida, actually, this weekend. But get ready. About 1:17. Great feelings of your life on the way. All right, let's get back to the story. Proof of the attack was still stuck to the victim's face when deputies arrived at the home around 8 a.m. This happened Monday, February 12th, so just recently this happened.
my birthday.
Marion County Sheriff's Office reported that they were still on her face. The 28-year-old suspect, the one who called 911, she greeted deputies with a story of how her mother, quote, hit herself in the face with the grits as part of a staged assault.
Wow.
This is like the Kennedy assassination. Is Oliver Stone going to do a movie on this?
Talk about throwing it and seeing if it sticks.
Oh, man. Wow. It says here in the affidavit that I made contact with the victim who had appeared to have dried grits on the side of her face. I'm sorry, this isn't funny because her eyes were extremely red and watery, I imagine. I observed what appeared to be a mark created by a hand in the grits and then grits on the floor. Well, it seems like an easy crime to figure out here. Actually, it's not, because I don't know who to believe now. If that's what she said, then maybe the mother did it to herself.
Why would she do that to herself?
Because she hates her daughter. And she wanted pizza or not pizza for breakfast. This is actually a pretty hard case. I understand why the investigators showed up.
It was pizza versus grits.
Yes.
That's what it was.
That famous court case, pizza versus grits.
Yeah. So here's what happened. The victim told deputies the argument began when her visiting daughter, out-of-town daughter or whatever, insisted on cooking a pizza in the oven at the same time grits were being prepared for children in the home. And it's sad there were children there for this. It really is.
A bunch of children, I bet. I'm just saying, It was plural.
What's the over-under? 4? 4 kids in the house?
It looked like Oliver. There was like 27 of them. More grits, please.
Oh, man. So when the mom advised her daughter to eat the grits or another breakfast food, the suspect grabbed some of the grits, parentheses, her mom, made, and then hit her in the face with them. Details of any injuries were not released. So, I mean, there were grits on her face. They said watery eyes and redness, but other than that, not released. The victim advised that she did not contact law enforcement due to not wanting the defendant to get arrested. So they kind of like each other. There's a loving-daughter relationship there. The suspect was arrested and charged with misdemeanor assault. Investigators noted the suspect recently began experiencing homelessness in the Ocala and was staying temporarily in her mother's home. That's the worst.
Yeah,
when you got to go move back home.
Yeah.
That's the problem right there. We came to the crux of it right there. That's the end of the story. But you got to get back home. It's not your house anymore. You're not a kid that can go to the closet and do what you want. It's your mom's house. You stay here. You can't have breakfast pizza. You got grits.
What are you in for? Grits.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
All right, we have some programming notes here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. First off, you have 11 minutes left till 9 o'clock. You can text the word Eddie right now to 312-591-8300 for your chance to win Pearl Jam tickets at Wrigley Field. That was the 8 o'clock hour word. It expires at 9. Actually, it expires like at 8:59, let's say. So this is how you get to Wrigley Field Thursday, August 29th or Saturday, August 31st for Pearl Jam with Q101. We're going to have another word at 9 because every hour, Ticket Blitz Thursday, even through Lauren's show and Brian Phillips in the afternoon when you're on your way home or going around and doing something, going to get a beer, keep listening for those words to get to Pearl Jam. We are your source. We are the only ones. This is it. So text Eddie right now if you haven't, 312-591-8300. You can text the new word at 9 because if you haven't been notified that you've won or not, keep texting. So that's what's happening in the next 10 minutes. Now, we have Al Roker Jr. filling in here for Kenzie while she's on maternity leave, and he would like to make an apology to Al Green as a fact-checker crew member. We just talked about in Head to Headlines. He mentioned that Al Green threw grits in his wife's face over some kind of fight. Al Green is this man right here, by the way.
Let's stick together.
And I was like, I can never hear the song again, knowing what happened. One of our crew members checked in, Roker, and he just fact-checked that story.
Good news. You can listen to Al Green again because it was actually Al that got the grits thrown on him
That's right, according to our crew member.
while he was in the bathtub.
Oh, was that more of it?
God.
Yes.
So apparently he was kind of philandering with a lady who was already married, and he wanted to marry her. And so she, in somehow of a fight, threw grits in his face.
And that's when he got religious and turned into a pastor.
Is that right?
That ended up changing his life.
The grits did that?
Yeah, the grits did that. Boiling hot grits.
I got to say, if I had something thrown in my face, I'd change my ways.
Depends what it is. Yeah.
So enjoy Al Green for the future with your lady this weekend.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.